Welcome to INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Morgan Lekstrom, the president and CEO of Silver HAMR Mining, which trades on the CSE under the symbol HAMR and on the OTCQB under the symbol HAMRF. Mr. Lekstrom is a mining veteran with experience in progressively senior roles in projects, operations, and engineering management, and he has a strong leadership background. You know, in addition to or part of his established track record is the delivery of successful projects across numerous regions around the world, particularly in Africa. Now, Silver HAMR Mining is a junior mining company advancing the past-producing Silver Strand Mine in the Coeur d'Alene Mining District in Idaho. As well, the company has two other projects, the Eliza Silver Project and the Silverton Mine, Silver Mine, both of which are in the most prolific mining jurisdiction there is, that being Nevada in the U.S. Morgan, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the time today.
Let's go straight to your Silver Strand Mine in Idaho. Give viewers a background, on it, and then let's talk about where you're at and plan to go with that project.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we only started the company in roughly May last year. We brought that Silver Strand asset into the fold in June, and late June actually, and then myself joining the company in very late June. And we took that asset from being a theory that there is mineralization below the existing workings right below surface to permitting it, doing exploration on it, and drilling it out within the first 6 months of having the company on U.S. Forest Service land. So there's quite a number of catalysts that came out of that, including our drill results, which were fantastic in proving that we have strong gold and silver mineralization right below the existing workings, but as well giving us future targets for what we were going to talk about is upcoming this year. So coming up this year, we have a significant number of catalysts, including what we plan on doing at Silver Strand. That's continuing that drilling underground, continuing to prove that to depth, like many of the mines in the area, very deep, large, prolific mines like Lucky Friday and Galena and Sunshine. But also we have this 5.5 kilometer strike length where during our summer season, we found outcrops on roads, we found outcrops in areas that start connecting the whole strike length all the way up to what's called the burnt cabin. And doing that, we now have the ability to go and drill and test these anomalies and these high-grade potential targets to connect the entire mine along a larger district. So possible for multi-vein mine, possible for a deep mine. So we're very excited about the large potential at Silver Strand, and now proving that mineralization below surface really rings true to what we're getting at.
Based on the timeline that you just presented, you're moving at lightning speed. How did you manage to do that? Is that partly a credit to your team and the resources that you have available to you?
Yeah, definitely it's the team. Having people like Lawrence Ralston and Ron Burke in the background, and our chief geologist Phil Mulholland, and all the support folks we have around us like Jonas Lang, but also myself. I'm a bit of a driver on the projects I get on, and I think my team had an interesting take on that when I first started, and everyone's used to it now. So I like to drive things forward with the right information, methodically and cost effectively. And that's something we did at the Silver Strand Mine. We were able to go in and do this cost effectively because we utilized the existing underground. And now going forward, we can do that. We can do cost effective drilling that minimizes surface impact and has the best return for value of our shareholders.
So, as you pointed out, you're a relatively new organization. What are your immediate and more long-term plans? Do you foresee, if results come in the way that you want them to, that you would move towards operating, or are you going to be looking to have a relationship with a major?
I say this. My plan is always to build a mid-tier mining, silver mining company. And that means that there is large exploration payoff, but also near-term production potential. So yeah, with Silver Strand and with our Nevada assets, having my background, I can always look at how we're turning those into production while we're exploring them. Instead of having that management transition and that project transition, I can keep on the forefront of that. So having that ability allows us to think about near-term production. So yes, I want to build a mid-tier mining company in short order.
Okay, that requires infrastructure, requires access to market. Tell us about the jurisdiction and how easy it is going to be for you to be able to realize that.
Yeah, so the great thing about, let's start with Silver Strand in Idaho. It was a past producing mine. There is a mill close by, owned by the New Jersey Mining Company. I think they just changed their name actually. And they have made it very public that they're looking to sell off this mill in a year or two. And we're looking at how we're going to be expanding our resource. So there's some synergies to be had there. As well as the jurisdiction, Idaho's extremely friendly for mining, especially in the Coeur d'Alene district. You have mining families there, and I mean it. I mean, when you talk to some locals, I've been there, boots on the ground many times. That's my approach. Talking with local people, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm a third generation miner," and I'm like, "Are you from Sudbury?" They're like, "No, Coeur d'Alene." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." So there's a lot of mines around the area too. So they seem very pro development, pro mining in a responsible way, and I think we're going to keep developing in that community aspect.
Well, yeah, you're right. Coeur d'Alene, of course, the mining has been at the foundation of the local economy, and it's growing out from there. And so there is an appreciative appetite within that area for that. Let's talk also about your projects in Nevada. Where are you at, and where to next?
So that's a really exciting part about this company is that we brought in that Silver Strand asset. And then in September, we were fortunate enough to get a hold of two very high potential past producing silver assets in Nevada, giving us that double jurisdiction as per se, the Idaho jurisdiction, the Nevada jurisdiction, the Nevada being the top mining jurisdiction in the world, according to the Fraser Institute last year. So in taking those two projects in, we were able to execute on boots on the ground, geology studies, sampling programs, and actually get an understanding of how we're going to drill these. So we're looking at potential geophysics on both Eliza and Silverton. Eliza being in the historic Hamilton district. That district is prolific. It was one of the reasons Nevada has become the silver state, and it was the largest silver rush in the 1860s, 1870s, and it has not been gone back to. So there's a lot of potential there. In our sampling, we found not only high-grade silver, but high-grade copper as well, all the way up to about 7% copper. So we're extremely pleasantly surprised and extremely excited to keep working on the Eliza project, and the Silverton project being close to Tonopah gives us that past producing silver asset. Now we just are looking at doing some more geochemistry and possibly geophysics programs out there, and drill targeting in the near future as well. So this year is going to be really exciting for Silver HAMR. With a lot of catalysts coming out in the first 6 to 8 months of the company, we are going to be looking at drilling at Silver Strand and our two Nevada assets. So we are moving at lightning speed, to quote what you said earlier, and we're looking forward to it.
So for investors, they're going to ask, do you have the financial resources that you need to continue to move forward? And why is now the time that I should be looking at Silver HAMR?
Well, you know what? We are well capitalized. In May, we raised about $3.5 million. We had a burn rate about $400,000 per month during our drilling campaign. So we're sitting pretty well to execute on the current drill plans that we have for Silver Strand and our plans for Eliza and Silverton. So I'm excited. And if you were an average investor right now, or an investor looking at the mining space, it's when you look at companies like us that have these high potential assets, other companies as well, that go into areas that were past producing and maybe haven't been looked at in 100 years. You got to remember, technology has come a long way in 100 years, and the geological understanding has advanced, the people have advanced. So now we're going back to these areas that they may have walked away from at 2,000 or 3,000 grams a ton silver, and nowadays 2,000 or 3,000 grams a ton silver is astronomical value. So we have 3 high potential mines. We're proving that out at Silver Strand. So that's just the first step at Silver Strand. more drilling underground, more drilling on surface. So a lot of results going to be coming out of there. And then the other two Nevada potential assets that any one of those could hit that large potential exploration payoff and really skyrocket the stock up.
Wow. So the next few months are going to be continue to be exciting for you. I want to invite you to come back in a few months and tell us what's been happening.
Absolutely, I'd appreciate that.
Great. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much.